Show. I am Tessa-Marie, and tonight I'm telling you all about the wonderful pillar of spirituality. What I know for sure is that I can help you with finances, and I want you to do better than you did yesterday. I want you to try to always do better each day. Through the pillars of spiritual prosperity, I will let you have this wonderful opportunity to open your mind and look to see how leadership and spirituality go hand in hand. Sometimes, when we look at the pillars of spirituality, especially that one, we tend to associate it with a religion. But spirituality is not a religion. It is something that it will be more intrinsically deeper than that. The spiritual being allows others to do whatever they do. It allows them to worship or choose not to worship in whatever way they choose to worship. A spiritual being accepts people for who they are. They are always on a quest to find something better. And then all of a sudden, leadership everywhere, in the household, in the corporation, organizations have decided, let us capture spirituality. Let us use it in our organization, in our home. Because it is not like a religion. It's not a dogma. It doesn't have rites that you have to follow. There is no real spiritual place you will go. And this is the religion of spirituality. It allows each person to do what they choose to do and maintain a spiritual, balanced life. So what we found out, leaders of companies now are no longer able to choose to employ someone based on their beliefs in their religion. It is no longer tolerated. Companies now have to make allowances for the different types of worship in several different ways. They have to just step back. In days gone by, leaderships in corporation would hire you because you were Protestant or you were a Catholic. It was so bad that even in Toronto, Canada, we had a day for the Orange Men Parade and a day for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. The Orange Men Parade has fizzled off and it's no longer there. It was different. It was the same idea of what happened in Ireland, where the factions fight on religion. There was a time in Ontario, it was predominantly Protestant. Quebec was Catholic. So you find you have a large Irish population in Quebec. You have it here now. But it was always very divided. But now, they cannot do that, right? So they're looking now for a spiritual-centered organization. There is one where the company is aware of spirituality being practiced in a kind of way. Spiritual leadership is necessary for all organizations to develop a clear sense of their identity, as individuals in the workplace are looking for that also. But what they have found out, their leaders have to be put in that place to do that. So these leaders have to have the tolerance to let people be who they are within that. But statistics will show you that they found out that the people that are spiritually motivated are better workers. So the companies decided to start to hook up to it and use it as part of their platform. In some places, it is so embedded in them that they know that an employee that is spiritually motivated, spiritually inclined, will give them their full 8 hours. That employee will do their best. That employee would do better than the best. That employee will be first to come in and the last to leave. So the purpose of spiritual leadership is to motivate employees through practicing spiritual values and exhibiting love in the workplace. They started to increase that. They instead of only having customer service for the customers, they have customer service for the staff. Staff Appreciation Day. All of this type of thing. Because the leadership realize if you butter them and you give them more honey, they will give you more honey back. Along with the growing uncertainty of times, they are walking on ice. They're actually walking on thin ice. Organizations don't realize you cannot fool around with somebody. You cannot tease somebody because yoga is the thing. You cannot tell them they cannot do certain types of workout. A workout, an exercise regime is the thing. They cannot say it's only yoga. It's not a religion. They can't say that your dedication to your exercise program is nothing. They want that spiritual staff to have all these amenities so that they can perform at the highest. They know that a well-balanced staff engaging in the 5 pillars of prosperity, especially when they see the work that can do, they usually come practicing yoga, exercising, getting rid of the aggression, being able to do the things they do them exceptionally well, but there is no anger, there is no competition. They support each other. They work hand in hand with each other. And that is what so now they're fostering it by putting leaders that can understand that. One approach that embodies such leadership is when, they encourage them to have hope and faith and love and to motivate oneself using your hope and your faith and your love and allowing them to grow. And more compassion in the workplace for these employees that are now doing something to help themselves. They notice it's a more inclusive workplace. They realize that spirituality means we are going to fight so that we have a ramp for the employee that has to come in a wheelchair or with walker. The whole team will get together. They'll be concerned. They'll go visit others, send flowers. So they realize it's not just all about the bottom line no more. Because the leaders now realize a spiritually well-balanced employee is an asset. Is a huge, huge, huge asset. The leadership knows that. And they push that need to go forward with that. They say your belief and your faith in what you do. And you get them to twist that faith and your belief that our company can succeed. Our company can do better. But there is one big company in Canada called Leon's. And if you go into a Leon store, you will see a crucifix in there. He was from, I think, Lebanon. And he opened his department store and furniture store. And it was based on respect of religion. He had his crucifix. He hired people of various religions and he let them mesh in there because he found out the respect they gave each other gave him a better bottom line. So now these big corporations have realized this is the way to go. What they did, it's not religion that they practice, it's kindness, respect. They have a vision, they have faith, they have hope. And they can give those employees the vision with faith and hope that yes, we can do that. And yes, the company can do better. The compassion for others, the helping each other, staying later, working with them, doing things. This leadership is amazing because they realize what it's doing. It's increasing the bottom line. Sometimes the employees are so comfortable that they're not rushing out of the building. So they say spiritual leaders, there's something I remember, are concerned. They're more concerned with the way the people function in the environment. The spiritual leader will observe what is going on more because they too are in tune. So when they have staff appreciation, they might bring in again different types of people to assist, to help, like the yoga people, meditations. They encourage that. And that is awesome to see. But the reason why is not only because they encourage that. What they do is they experience that there is a true meaning in life when you're spiritual. They know that now. And they know that in turn promotes growth and development in the process of the workplace. They see that when in a spiritually balanced workplace, there is no religion. But everybody is allowed to enjoy their own spirituality in a new way. That transforms learning, and the organization and the employees become one. Growth and motivation tend to be highly efficient. They are really efficient because growth and motivation, because there's nobody telling you you're not good enough. The employees are supporting each other because they too are spiritually motivated to do better, to help others, to understand the golden rule. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. And that is the golden rule. If you're saying the golden rule and you're using like, then you're saying they can get a little bit like me, but not as I get. So their mission and they actually engage in pushing that. They share knowledge and implement things that will help the staff to do better. Sometimes their ideas are right off third base. It's right off third base. Because they want that relationship in the workplace to give them the bottom line. They know that. And you remember the trickle effect. It goes back up. Employees' productivity is great. Employees are happy and more willing to come to work. They have things in place to prevent them from phoning you and telling you have to show up, you need a doctor's certificate. They cannot even do that anymore. If you are sick, your boss cannot tell you in Canada that you need to bring a doctor's certificate. They can't. They do not talk to you again. That has to be done between the human resources person and the doctor. But the team knows your way. And there is no discussion about with you. They don't phone you and say, when are you coming back? So so many things have been put in place to make sure that this relationship between the staff and the leadership is growing. It's growing to the point. Sometimes the leadership embraces that type of spirituality. Meditation and silence and yoga and exercise. That was the one that threw me off. When they realized that they needed that type, and they said, when you're in the zone, I remember one of the leaders said, when I am exercising, I get in the zone. I remember talking to so-and-so, and he told me, you get in the zone. And I'm saying, you get in the zone? He said, yes, it is releasing the stress. That is a balance. That is better for me, he said, than going to a temple. These were his exact words. So I had to ask him and say to him, when did you learn that? He said, the observation of the team. You guys have a spiritual balanced relationship. It's time to go to the mosque, and everybody will say, okay, I'll pick it up for you, Sergeant. I'll take your customer for you. And in another world, they wouldn't do that. He would be afraid to leave because somebody would take his customer away. But because of that spiritual connection, he would leave in time to get to the mosque. On Good Friday, the lineups to go to the Catholic churches were heavy. And all of that for confession or whatever. And somebody always pick up the slack. It wasn't religion that did that, but they allowed them to practice it because they understood the spirituality that this person needs to go. If the team didn't have a spiritual connection, they would resent Ramadan. They would resent Diwali because people need time for that. They would resent Christmas. They'd no longer do that. But the heads of the department, instead of saying, questioning, I remember having to, when one of my employees, Reyes, came and said, Tessa, it's a Ramadan. I said, Reyes, you just figured this out this week, man. So he's telling me the moon and the Iman. I said, okay, let us just corner this thing. So I'm going to book you off for 2 weeks, but you need to you have 2 weeks, so you don't have to take 2 weeks. But those days that are important there, then when the Imam gives you the chronicle and tell you this is it, then you take it. I never saw a man smile so much in my life. He was so happy. And he said, oh, because in other places they don't. I said, this is a spiritually aligned place. That's what we're doing. That makes you happy. You're happy. You're going to produce more. My bonus is bigger. Your bonus is bigger. Let us get this thing working. It's simply, we're all in it for one thing, for each other. So we had to figure it out. And if we weren't balanced spiritually and we weren't connecting with our spiritual self, we couldn't see that for him. But he didn't know he did, but we know it's coming. So let's block 2 weeks. It has to be between those 2 weeks, right, Ray? Oh, he's smiling. Yes. I said, fine. Okay. Then it comes, it's 4 days, 2 days here, 2 days here, or how many days he needed. But he didn't have to take the 2 weeks, but he got the time to celebrate with his family. And this is unusual, but we have to do unusual things when we're spiritual beings. We as spiritual beings, we need to know what to do, how to get everybody on board, because at the end of the time, the year, is the bottom line that matters. I don't want an unhappy Raise because he couldn't get vacation and Sajid needs it too, and I couldn't figure this out. I had to figure it out for those two people. They were on my team. It's not their religion, but it's a spiritual thing on my part to see that they got the time, because this guy's unhappy. You think I'm going to get the results I want? You think I am going to make it to the top of the totem pole in the bank? My branch had to be successful in order for the district to be successful, in order for the city to be successful, in order for the province to be successful. And that happened in every province. The corner branch had to make it, bring in its target. If I have unhappy people that are sulking, you think they're going to be connecting to the customers and giving us the numbers we want? No, spirituality goes down. And they lose their faith and their hope and their belief in just life. So a leader has to understand the 5 pillars of prosperity. There is no other way out. There is no other way out. You want this team to succeed? Meet them where they are. Go and meet them where they're sitting. If they're doing yoga, understand yoga. If you want to have a conversation when you have a meet and a greet of your staff, then know what each staff is interested in. I like drumming. Then if they like drumming, not me, if they like drumming, drumming releases it. That's the thing. Some people like dancing in costumes, and that's their thing. And that is not a religion, but to them it's a spiritual outlet. Don't laugh at it. You cannot do that anyway. But there's still those little pockets of ignorance that is going to say, oh, dancing is not a spirit. Yes, it is. Because you that are telling it to me, you believe in a God that said David danced for him. So how come it's not spiritual? Because you guys mix the two together. So when I heard that, and there was going to be a drumming, and this girl was dancing, and she could dance a dance, and it was what they call a quadrille and a ballet, African type of dancing. I told him, you have to go. And I said, yeah, it's 8 o'clock tonight. The whole team is going. You have to go. So he came, and he said she looked like she transformed. I said, of course she transformed. That's her release. That's her spiritual connection to her beat of that drum. And I had to explain to him, all of that. Not at the time, because you needed the silence so you could get into it. So we need to understand the spiritual connection is not always a religion. It's faith, a belief, and hope, and the joy that it gives you. The way you feel after I stand in the window in the morning and I say, good morning to the world. And I feel the energy and I smell, the world smells different early in the morning. It has a unique aroma. For me, it just invigorates me. I feel good, I feel alive, and I'm ready to function. Spiritual connection that is what for me. I find this is better for me. Going for a walk, meditating, doing a meditation walk, doing some yoga, some stretches, I get more from it than going to a church. And some people don't like when I say that. I said, it doesn't do a thing for me. I just walk in there and I look. I know there is a bigger and there is a God somewhere. But I know that heaven is a state of mind. It's not anywhere. Because somebody would have found it already and give us a GPS to go there. So we have to understand what it is that gives you the joy, that makes you feel hopeful and have given you belief and faith. That's your spiritual connection. Your spiritual connection can be the hugging of a tree. Do you know that the trees have energy? They all do, everything does, we know that. So you put your back against a tree and you stand still long enough and you close your eyes. If you're one of the lucky few, the tree will envelope you. The tree will swallow you. The tree will give you all of its energy. That's what nature does, if you cling to it. So when you look at a mountain, they said the most important energy to harness and the most difficult is a mountain. And if you can get some of a mountain's energy, nothing can stop you. So when you're in nature, you can have a spiritual connection there. You can look at the trees. The further and deeper into nature you go, the less that these trees have been touched by others. Feel the bark of the tree. Look at it. Get a connection to it. Nobody feeds it, but it draws from the earth. It takes what it wants from the earth. And then nature destroys it when it's ready to go. So you think there is not any spirituality there? So the leaders have figured this out now, that they need to get on board, because if not, they will lose, they'll miss the boat. So spiritual connection is important. And we have to make sure we get it. As leaders, even in a home. When my children were growing up, I gave them, it wasn't called timeout, because they didn't have to do something wrong. I would say to them, you know what, go sit down and get to know yourself. Just sit by yourself. 20 minutes. I don't care what you think about, but just be by yourself. No sister, no brother. Go by yourself. And my mom did this. It's time to just go sit and find out who you are. So that is when you connect with the spirituality that is deep in front of you. They have retreats. You think all of these old customs are not worthy? When you go to what they call a retreat, when you go to 3 days, or if you go to Mecca and you have to, but for the crowd, if you go to a pilgrimage, that is finding your spirituality. It's not getting there to go to the house of worship. The process is your spirituality. It takes you longer to get there than you stay there. The drive to go, the flight to go, the crowds to go through, and you go in and you go out. You go in and you go out. It's the process that gives you the spiritual connection. Nothing else. It's not the worship. It's not the pastor. It's not the imam. It's not the, I don't know. I'm running out of names. It's not those. You know what I mean? It's not those that gives you that thing. It's you. It's your spiritual connection. You walking in, you taking the time, you plan it. Even just to go, I go down to St. Michael's Cathedral. I used to go every Saturday. You take me half an hour of driving to get there, and I would spend 20 minutes maximum in there. But that gave me so much satisfaction. I would just sit in that beautiful cathedral and just breathe. And breathe. And if I felt like writing, I would write what I'm feeling or hearing. And that is a spiritual connection. It's a quieter place than most. Or I go to the lake and sit and listen to the waves as it's coming in and going out. And you hear the birds, you look at the clouds formation, they're different. You feel the wind, where it's coming from. You look at the trees, you might see the fish, you might see a pair of white swans on the lake. Is an amazing experience. That is spirituality. So you remember that these leaders now know, if the staff member is happy, if we are happy, if we're allowed to relax and be ourselves and work, we will work more. We'll work longer. will accomplish more things. We will give them a better bottom line, which gives us a trickle too. They get big piece, but we get some too. Sometimes we get to go to the Bahamas on a trip for a week at their expense, or go to Lake Louise for a week and still get a bonus and maybe a promotion. But they get bigger, right? But if we do not do our part, we will not get anything. Already their salaries are bigger. So they have many, many reasons to keep us happy. And let our spirituality shine. And don't let anybody take it away from you. If all you like to do is sit, I don't care if you sit and you pour yourself a glass of wine, if that tickles your fancy, or you sit and you have a cup of tea. I had to laugh at my grandson when I don't know what he said to his father. Father told him, he said, Grammy just has 3 things. And he said, my Grammy drinks lots of water, she has lots of tea, and she drinks wine. And my son goes, how much wine? Oh, just 1 glass. I see her with 1 glass. He was a little tattletale on me, right? So that's what you have to have your thing. What is your thing? What is your spiritual connection? When you become a leader, when you are controlling your company and you're doing the best that you can do, remember to make room for your subordinates to grow, because when they grow, you grow. When they grow, you succeed. You get better. So, before I forget, I have to let you guys know